Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 4th, 2025 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. We've got, pardon?
Any microphones on?
I believe so, yeah.
Not that one yet. Got it.
We've got three applications on our agenda tonight. Two for variance and one for a variance extension. You guys had a chance to look at everything?
Yes.
I think we're just gonna go right down the list the way it is. Usually we'll take the variance extension to the end, but it's up front, we'll take care of it, right up front. That's okay with you guys?
Yep.
Okay. Get that out of the way. Where'd he go? There it is. Anybody got any questions on that?
The last time we had a variance extension,
Yep.
we said, hey, it seems to have been the rule of thumb to just rubber stamp them.
Yep.
And we decided to look into it, and that turned out to be good because it ended up saving the petitioner time. So I suggest we might want to, say, hey, could you refresh a new board on why there's an extension and, what's the plan? And, probably it'll all be good, and then we'll just go for it.
I would almost ask the question, has this been already executed like the other one was?
Exactly. Well,
Right.
that
And then
last
they don't
one
really
was
need
was
this.
a
Yeah.
strange thing. I've never seen that before in my life. But this is, somebody here to speak to it?
Yes.
Oh, you are here, okay.
Yes.
Usually we don't even have an open discussion. But
Okay.
if you want to say something to it, then,
Yes, first of all, thank you all. Appreciate your time. I love the idea of saving myself time, so thank you for that. A recommendation, as you see, we got this variance, and then since then, we've just been working to do the road improvements that were required as part of the variance, and also get in position financially where we are able to build. As you know, like shortly after we got the variance, housing prices have gone through the roof, and following along with that, home construction prices have also, It's not a fun time as a new home construction person. So yeah, we're just continuing to working towards that. We did a number of the road improvements. We replaced the culvert. I brought in several $1,000s worth of gravel and just continuing to improve the road according to the required specifications. And it's just one of those things. Just needs some more time.
okay. So basically, you're behind schedule.
Exactly. Behind schedule, under budget.
So before we continue,
Any
would you
questions?
just do me a favor and just state your name?
Oh yes.
And thank you.
Yep. My name is Jordan Estrada. The property is 185 Bart Clough, 40920.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions at all?
So one of them, right, so this was granted in 2021?
Yes.
And it was set Article 17.1.1. And that article was also amended in March of 2024. So does that amendment affect that at all that we need to look at?
I think it might if the amendment made the variance no longer required.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember the detail of how the article was amended. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah,
That's what I was curious about too.
it now says that no permits will be issued on class 6 roads. It did say or private. The private's
Okay.
been taken out.
Private, okay.
So you can't
And,
now get a
and you're on
building
class
permit.
6?
It is a class 6.
Okay, so that doesn't change the need for a variance. So beyond that, I have no further questions.
Right.
Excellent.
I have one question for you guys.
Yes.
I'm a little unclear how the timeline is supposed to work. Do I need to do all the road improvements before I get my driveway permit and start, site work and everything? Or is it something that can happen concurrently? Like, what do I have to do to lock in the variance so that I don't have to keep renewing it, is my question.
So you don't have to what?
What do I have to do to lock in the variance so that I don't have to keep renewing
Basically,
it?
the same issue as last time. What does
Yeah.
it mean to be executed? So when can it?
Exactly. Yeah. How do I execute?
First of all, normally, when we have an extension request, it's almost an administrative chore for us. It's usually a closed deliberation, and usually the applicant would put everything, usually it's just a quick thing like this.
Right.
And if there are any extenuating circumstances, they'll be added to the list as an addendum or whatever. But basically, you've done all the work already.
I've done some. I've
Yeah,
done
no,
all
no,
the
no,
work.
let me finish.
paperwork.
Sorry.
You've done all the work as far as earning the variance.
Yes, yes.
You don't want to make that argument again.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants you to go through that process again.
Thank you.
So if you've shown, generally, if they show that there's work being done, and it's substantial, it's a go-to. You just go ahead and get your variance, and keep going, is what I'm saying. And we will usually just give you the extension because you need it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And so that's very helpful. I guess, like, what qualifies, like, is there like an official, like, you have now executed your variance? Like, how do I know?
We
So,
approve this, you'll have another 2 years.
Oh, really?
But-
Okay.
And I would assume that you have plenty of time to get that done.
Yes.
but the question is, at what point can he stop coming back and asking for 2-year extensions? Does he have to build the entire house, or does he just have to finish building the driveway?
Now, I'm not sure about that.
Yes, me neither. I couldn't figure out
Usually,
the
if
answer.
you want to look at the state, I believe there's a percentage of how much work you have
Mm-hmm.
and how much you need to get done, 60% or something like that. I'm not sure what that number is, to be honest with you. I don't have this memorized. I
Okay.
keep trying, but it won't stick.
Right.
But if, my words on that is, don't worry about it.
Okay.
You've got 2 years to get stuff done, and you'll have plenty of work done.
Is it extended for 2 years?
If you, let me say it this way.
When we vote,
If
that's what
you-
we'll vote
if
on.
You get 2-year extension,
Thank you,
okay?
okay.
And if you're doing work, and you're showing good faith, and you're
Yes.
getting stuff done, and let's just say, you're not gonna get it finished,
Mm-hmm.
you come here, and one of the phrases we use is for good cause.
Right.
If you need an extension for a good cause, you'll usually get it. So I would say, again, don't worry about it.
Thank you. Okay.
Does that make sense to you guys?
I mostly agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say a few things. In this particular thing, I'm going to vote to extend it. I think you're going to get 5 out of 5 here, but I can't bind anyone to that. I would also imagine that 2 years from now, you'd probably also, but we can't bind that future, so.
Yes.
Hey, yes.
And so your question about what exactly has to be done to get it executed and never come back again is a very good one. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the expertise right here to answer it, but that's a great thing to dig into.
Okay. Thank you.
You're doing fine.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
You're at this point in the situation, we're gonna vote on it and you'll be on your way.
That's encouraging to
so
hear.
to
Thank
speak.
you.
Who's overseeing your road construction right now?
So, I'm blanking on his name. So I originally started working with the gentleman, but then there was turnover, and I can't remember the name of the new guy.
Okay, so
I can't. But it's whoever the town director of public works is.
Yeah. Yeah. So any other questions for us at all?
No, thank you.
Do I hear a motion to grant?
I motion to grant a 2-year extension.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
yes.
That's a 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, get that out of the way. Okay, next on the agenda,
We've got a question from Naomi.
Who did you appoint tonight? You don't
Pardon me?
have
No one.
Sean. Who did you appoint tonight? You don't have Sean.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to appoint Matt. Mike, sorry. Too many Matts and Mikes and Malcolms.
So is that a 4-0 vote then?
I was about to ask if we wanted to revote or,
Oh, should I sit down again?
no, you're good.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
You too.
yeah, this has happened before. We usually just kind of roll over it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, if it were contested or close or something,
yeah,
maybe,
exactly,
but
exactly.
it could flip from 4-0 to 4-1 or 5-0, yeah.
Thanks, Naomi. Yeah. Okay. Next on the agenda.
Do you want to
Case
officially
02.
seat them? Or did we already do that?
Pardon me?
Do we officially want to seat them?
I can't hear you.
Has he been seated officially?
Officially.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just basically said, you're appointed.
Very well.
You're working tonight. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Case 02, 2025. Anybody here to speak to that? Okay, hang on just a second. You guys have looked over the application.
Yes.
Yes.
So complete, everything's set for that one. Wrong one. But it looks good to everybody. Entertain a motion to accept the application.
I so motion?
Second.
Second. Moving to second to accept the application. All those, discussion? All those in, no discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Yes.
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 5-0, yes. Okay. Now, your turn.
Hi again. I understand we have some new people here. I was here in October, and we got the special exception granted for our in-law apartment or ADU unit. But because there was some problems and with the discussion regarding square footage, because nobody could define if a bathroom was living space or not. And when I went to the building inspector, he said no. So he would not grant me a building permit
So,
with that square
let
footage.
me interrupt you for a second with a question. So he said, yes, it is living space.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. I'll say
That's, I was gonna ask you up front, what was going on there? Because.
Yeah, he actually quoted me the International Residential Code
Right.
book, and so we found a discrepancy between living space and habitable space, and people often interchange the usage of the terms, but
Right.
he was not gonna sign off because he was going straight by the book. So, but we did come up with a plan.
A plan.
A plan.
My question up front, okay, was basically, why the need for a variance?
Because then
25
it,
square feet,
23. I
20,
want my
21
23.
actually.
No, it's 23.
According to this, but we won't, yeah, okay, 23.
I don't know if you want to go through this,
Nope.
because it's easy enough if you all look at that little drawing, the sketch of the floor plan. That was, I gave enough copies for everybody.
I guess, my question is based on the notion or the, have you thought about adjusting the plans to make up for that 20 square feet, 23 square feet? It's so
Based
So
on
small.
this decision last
yeah,
October, and the building inspector in November left me a voicemail that I'm all set, he just needed like the the pitches and the materials list and all that stuff. We went ahead and had plans drawn up,
okay.
and paid the architect and got all kinds of stuff, and then when he came back in January and said, sorry, I can't do this, it's like, what?
So I think Malcolm's question might be, 24 square feet is this table from here to the end.
It's a closet.
Yeah, so is it
and I-
possible to delete a closet and then not need a variance at all? Is that your question?
Exactly,
Okay.
because the reason, Larry, I'm asking you is because, do you really wanna go down this route if you can find a better way out for yourself?
What we
Variance is a
did,
big deal, and
I don't know if you have all this drawings that I have, because, well, it is, because to me, that closet, I'm going from a two-story colonial with a basement, I'm a homesteader,
Yeah.
and all that, and that closet space can be very important pantry area.
I guess, let me interrupt you again. I don't want to get too far into this. I mean, I want
Yeah.
you to do this if that's what you want to do.
It's very simple.
But part of, another question related is that, have you really checked your square footage? As far as square footage into the eave of the roof, into the eaves, into all of these things?
I have been with the building inspector
You really
over
run it dry.
everything. We found a way to get a building permit by moving one wall between the garage, making the garage 1 foot wider, and
Right.
the whole ADU 1 foot smaller. That made up that 23 square feet. That made it acceptable to the building inspector, and he signed a building permit with that. I want my wall back.
I guess my last question before you go forward is,
Mm-hmm.
you want to go through the variance process?
Well, I don't know what other option I have.
I can't really say, you know.
Because the building inspector said if you all say that I can move my wall back, he'll approve it.
Okay.
Because the contractor, the architect came up with the idea, we can move this wall and you'll lose a foot or 23 square feet.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's an 8 by whatever, but to me, that's, like I said, that's a pantry closet. I'm already shrinking everything down as much as I can.
Right.
So it has no impact on the external,
I applaud you. That's,
because I'm stubborn.
you wanna go ahead, we can start, and you wanna go through the 5
Yeah, I mean, we
articles.
can, yeah, because it's,
Just wanted to make sure that you,
I'm already here.
okay. We start right at the, you've redone this, so. Start right with the first article. This variance will not be contrary.
Can I grab her for a second? Am I allowed to do that?
Go ahead, yep.
Can I get you for like 2 seconds? I just need
Be
to know
quiet.
that she knows her. I think she is not.
Guys got anything to say about this?
On prong one
Yeah, right, or just.
or overall?
Overall, right? It's-
Beginning here is a little bit, I'm still not sure she needs a variance.
She does.
Well, for 770, so it's 770 square feet, we're, by our code, it's 750 square feet, so it's 20 over that, so that's why she would need a variance.
Somewhere in the 20 to 25.
I
I
think.
wanted to beat that one down as hard as I could before we went forward.
I think that there is a reasonable and human temptation to say, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Our ruler is off by 11 inches here. But I think that if we start going down that route,
No,
then
no,
is
no, no,
45
yeah,
square feet is, so I think it's good to move forward on the application.
Are you ready?
Yeah, she said basically, okay.
Okay.
Okay, variance will not be contrary to public interest, because its proposed use does not conflict with any other purpose of the ordinance. It must not, and it does not alter the essential character. It does not alter anything, does not threaten public safety, welfare. It doesn't even make a difference on the external aspect of the structure.
Right.
Let me ask a question
Yep.
briefly. I absolutely understand we're still going with the applicant. Are there other people in the audience, either pro or con, on this one?
We don't need to get into that.
I understand we don't need to. I'm curious, so I'd
okay.
like to
Yeah,
ask.
You'll find that out after.
We-
Okay, so
will-
we don't know.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay?
Number 2? Wait,
Oh, she hasn't finished.
you have any?
No, I was gonna just go for number 2. Please describe how the spirit of the ordinance is observed. Because the proposed use does not conflict with the general purpose of the ordinance, because it doesn't alter the essential character of any of those things, threaten public safety, welfare, or otherwise injure public rights. My 1-foot wall does not do any of those things.
Okay. Questions so far? Got number 3?
Now, describe how substantial justice is done. Benefits to the applicant must not outweigh by harm to the general public. As I had said, that I am a homesteader. We do a lot of canning, we do a lot of food dehydrating, and I am squishing down we butcher our own pigs in the kitchen. Well, they're dead when they get there. But, so to downsize, which is what I want, but I still need kitchen space and whatnot, so I've shaved as much as I physically think I can and still keep in context of the ordinance. And with the plans and the way everything came out, everything went together very nicely, and to have to shave it down more would be, I'd lose my pantry.
Okay.
But it's not, so in reading the application, you had plans for 747 and a half square feet by increasing the size of the garage by 1 foot.
Yep, and decreasing the ADU so that we could get the permit.
Right.
So that
you
we
were
could,
granted a permit to build based on that square footage.
yes. Which is not the original plans.
Are you going down the route of, have we already granted the variance that she needs?
No.
Okay.
Because she wouldn't need a variance
Okay,
for that. So she could have had a permit from the building inspector for that.
For the smaller
What
amount.
was
For
that
that.
number again? How was it?
747.5 square feet.
Okay.
Because that, you had stated that you had the building inspector
Right.
that had granted you a permit for that.
So that we could, if, depending on whether we could start doing excavating and, because that outside, the way we did it, the outside of the structure does not change.
Right.
Understood, understood. So have you started that construction?
Actually, the contractor called today and asked me where I was, because he's in the
Yeah.
nice weather and ready to get his
Right.
excavator, even though I said, there's snow there. He said, so?
So that's why she's here, is because now she wants to change the plans,
so the,
the foot back on the garage and add the extra square footage to the ADU, which would give her 770 and a half square feet.
Correct.
Which would equate to 23 square feet over, well, 20.5 square feet over what is allowed in the ordinance. Just want to make sure that everybody understands and understands that, so.
so that was prong 3. Had you finished with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Number 4, how the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Our home is on 28 acres. The house is nowhere near any edge. We are way off the road. Again, it's already been approved for the exterior size, and this doesn't change anything whatsoever on the exterior. So they are not going to be diminished. Actually, it would probably improve property values.
Number 5.
Literal enforcement provision of the ordinance result in an unnecessary hardship. I already stated that being a homesteader, that is a hardship if I lose my pantry. In fact, the median-sized home is, yeah, I went through and looked a whole lot of stuff up. Because our main home is 1632, the main house that we're adding on to. And the lot is 28, it abuts a swamp with a woodland and the railroad bed. And I've lived in this smaller than normal home for 30-plus years. I am still downsizing. But yeah, I have the plans all drawn up, and then to have them be told that I can't do that, and it's like having to backpedal again.
Yep.
Like, help?
Okay. Any other questions for that? Good job. No more questions? Okay, I'm gonna have you sit down and
Okay,
go to approving of butters.
okay.
Are there any approving of butters who'd like to speak to this? Being none, are there any disapproving of butters? Public at large, boards? Okay, that's it. You have nothing to rebut. No more questions to her at all? Okay, I'm gonna close deliberation now. What do you guys think? Generally,
Generally,
I guess we can entertain a motion on prong 1.
Can you remind me of the formation or formulation of the motion? Motion to accept, is that?
Yeah, you can move to accept prong 1.
I move to accept prong 1.
second.
Moved and seconded to accept prong 1. Is there any discussion on this?
I would say under Gray v. Sidell, 1999, no one alleged that the variance would cause harm. Under Chester Rod and Gun Club versus Chester, there's no reason to believe that it would alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten health or threaten safety or threaten the general welfare of the public. And under the municipal law update, NHMA 1999, no one said that it would harm the public interest, no one on the board, no abutter, no board member. So as far as I'm concerned, looking at all of the Supreme Court precedent, this is a slam dunk on prong one.
I agree. Anything else? No more discussion. All those in favor?
Yes.
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 And a yes, that's 5-0, prong one passes. Do I hear a motion to accept prong two?
I so motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
I have discussion. I think it's always important to talk out through the spirit of the ordinance. And in this case, the spirit of the ordinance is to allow ADUs, but not create sort of sprawling multifamily homes. And so this hews not exactly to the law, but very, very close in its spirit. And there are further questions. Malachy Glen Associates versus Town of Chichester. Would this alter the character of the locality? One thing that pushed me very strongly on no was the size of the lot and setbacks. So, if this were 15 feet from the road, I might start to think about 24 feet.
Right.
But given the distance. And then another question, and this one is near and dear to my heart, Bacon v. Town of Enfield. It's not just what one person does, but the Supreme Court said you have to imagine what if every single person on the street did it. So if we had a rule that you can only have 2-car garages, we don't, and someone wanted a variance for 3, you wouldn't just ask, okay, what if they get it? But what if up and down the street there were 3- and 4-car garages? In this case, I would say that even if everyone on the street had an extra 24 square feet, that would not change the character of the neighborhood. So again, I think prong 2 looks great.
Again, I agree. Anything else? No more discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And a yes. Prong two passes 5-0. Do I hear a motion to accept prong three?
I so motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? I think that, I'm gonna just have something there, it's pretty much the same kind of thing. I think this is a slam dunk. Going up to the other ones, it's like,
And on 3, it's a balancing test. There can be harm that something causes, and you can still approve it.
Yep,
The fact that there was no one speaking to the negative suggests that there is no harm, and we certainly heard about a benefit, so the benefit outweighs the harm.
anything else? Being no more discussion, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
That's 5-0. Prong three passes. Nah, I lost track. Okay, prong four, do I hear a motion to accept it?
I so motion.
Second.
Approve it, I mean, sorry.
I so,
Moved and seconded, any discussion? I don't think it's gonna bother the values
no,
at all.
no one has opposed it?
I think that's an NA. Anything else? No more discussion, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Prong four passes 5-0.
Did you vote? Did you vote?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept prong five in its entirety?
I so motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So I'm going to speak against this. I expect I'll be outvoted 4-1, and I'm perfectly happy if that's how it plays out. I think one thing that we always discuss, or at least I always discuss when hardship comes up, is that there are Supreme Court rulings on the definition of hardship. And in Ryan v. City of Manchester, the Supreme Court said, a hardship that is caused by the applicant's personal circumstances is not a valid hardship for the purpose of this prong. In Belanger versus Nashua, the Supreme Court said, the hardship must be caused by a special condition, that is, uniqueness of the property.
To the lot, yes.
Yeah. Like I said, I almost hope that I lose this vote, but speaking to what the law is and what the precedent is, I do not believe that there is a legal hardship here.
I tend to agree with you. And it's always a sticky one for me because it's difficult. Whenever we get a variance application in front of us, I want to find the hardship. And the hardship, as Travis said, it goes with a lot. And I just can't see it. So that's where I sit. Is there any other discussion?
I would say that the verbiage at the beginning, in trying to describe the unnecessary hardship where the median size of homes and where is 1944 square feet is really irrelevant to the application, in my opinion, from the standpoint of it has no bearing on this application.
Right.
So,
Anything else? Being no more discussion, all those in favor of passing prong 5? No yeses? Those opposed?
Still thinking?
I'm still thinking.
I vote no.
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 And that's a no from me.
No.
So that was no over there? Okay. Prong 5. Just can't. So, you're gonna have to hit the drawing board again. And I really appreciate you coming out here. I really do. And I know what you're going through, and I hope it works out for you.
Thank you.
Last case. It's 03-2025. You guys looked at it?
Yes.
Does all look in order to you? It looks good, you guys. Entertain a motion to accept the application.
It's a motion?
Second.
Moved and second to accept the application. All those in favor?
Yes.
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 And a yes, so here we are. Who's here to speak for that? Come on up and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Luke Vasconcelos. I don't know if we need to follow the domino effect of permission letters here, but
Pardon me?
I don't know if we need to follow the domino effect of permission letters. Both of them have been submitted. The owner gave permission to.
Yeah, I had a little confusion here. You're, I mean.
He's authorized to speak on behalf of the applicants.
Yes.
Is that through 2 steps? Is that?
Yeah, that's.
Where's my letter?
There's a little of a domino effect.
Right
Here a second ago.
The landowner
Or
has
the-
gave the potential buyers permission to speak on their behalf.
And then they redelegated it to you.
And the potential buyers are actually currently in New York, awaiting to leave vacation. And I am
There we go.
potential buyers' business partner for the past 15
Great.
years.
So you're Luke Vasconcelos,
That's actually pretty good, yeah.
and you're here to speak for the applicant?
Correct,
And we also have a letter from the owner. Okay, so
correct.
go right ahead. Starting with the first point.
So the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. The request follows the basic objectives of the zoning ordinance. The proposed ranch-style single-family home will coincide with the existing family homes in the area. There seems to be, I believe, a Cape split level, a colonial, and then I believe further down, a couple of ranches as well.
Right. Keep going.
Okay? Please just,
Take your time, do what you want as far as going right through it.
okay, okay. Please describe how the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The proposed will abide all local regulations. The intent is not to clear cut the 11 and a quarter acres by any means. The intent is to limit the amount of land clearing and still provide adequate amounts of privacy to all the abutters. Obviously, that land has been vacant for quite the time. I'm sure nobody wants none of the abutters want anybody to clear cut that land, and the
Right.
purpose is to keep it as secluded as possible. Obviously, there's some, 80-foot pines in the area that would definitely have to be removed in order to get,
Right.
a safe distance around from the proposed structure.
Questions so far?
I do have a question. The variance process is not to be allowed to build a home. You can build a home by right. This variance is specifically to build it off of a certain road. Is the issue that it could be built off of Road A, but by building it off of Road B, which is the Class 6 road, some other good things occur? Or this is the road, and so you have to build it off of the Class 6 if you're to build it at all?
Yeah, there's no access for many
Okay.
of the butters, so the only access is from
Okay.
the upper part of
You have no
Huntington
other
Hill.
frontage.
Yes, no other frontage.
Thank you.
Correct, yep. And then I believe, obviously, the town's ordinance is anything built on a Class 6,
Right.
a variance must be filed. Obviously, you guys know that. Please describe, still good to go?
Yeah.
Go forward. Please describe how substantial justice is done. There is absolutely no harm to the general public. The proposed would be in accordance to local setback requirements and would not impact any neighbors. Land parcels would be consistent with surrounding areas. I
Basically,
believe,
justice is you're gonna be able to build a house on your lot.
yeah, I mean, I believe that parcel, while there's one more completely adjacent to the left side of the property, I believe is a large parcel, but all the other parcels abutting, I believe, are like roughly two acres, so there's definitely more acreage on this parcel. Please describe how the values of the surrounding properties are not diminished. The proposed single-family home would increase the neighbor's property value, as the building estimated value will be between $500,000 to $600,000 in median sales, which are median sales for where. Coming to find out, we've been doing a lot of preliminary numbers on this, and I would assume that estimated value actually might be even greater than the numbers filed at that time. Then we have literal enforcement and the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship. The proposed use is reasonable as it would suit the characteristics of the neighborhood. As far as hardships goes, obviously Douglas Isley has been trying to sell this property. I think it's been listed for over a year. Obviously he's trying to get rid of it. I don't know what the circumstances is. I believe it's in a family trust, so, and obviously the potential buyers would be in a hardship as they've been trying to reside in Ware, and there's not really any land for sale,
Right,
so.
okay. Any questions at all?
It's,
I have one quick question.
Yep.
Is there any further plans to subdivide that lot?
At the moment, no. As like a future characteristic part of it is I personally reside in Bedford at the moment, and the plan is to build the single-family home, and then like 3-4 years down the road, maybe possibly the chance that we might file for another variance for an easement, and I'd be able to build my dwelling as well. The potential buyers and myself have been acquaintances for 18, 20 years. We've been business partners for 15 years. So we obviously get along, so to
Right.
have the acreage and be secluded, and not around any city life would be a plus.
Right.
But that's kind of like, we'll go with a pipe dream at the moment,
I hear
and that
you.
that would just be future.
So I've got one question. You did put in the tax map and lot, which is all that's required, but for my own information, this is on Sugar Hill Road?
No, it's off Huntington Hill,
Okay.
Huntington, sorry.
Oh, there it is, I'm sorry.
You have pictures of the road? Because the only thing I could see was the other side and the road looked terrible. And this is a class 6 road.
Yes.
And when I looked at one spot from it, it was someone's driveway where the road is supposed to be, at least per like Google Maps. So coming from the other way, what does the road look like?
So I don't have pictures with me. So the upper part of Huntington, I don't have the abutter's name at the moment, but it's actually like almost in his yard. The road continues almost in his yard.
Yeah.
And the upper side actually isn't all that bad. I mean, some road work definitely will have to be done in order to get to the driveway. But the lower half is pretty treacherous at the moment. The end where it comes down to River Road, it's a bit of a steep incline. So I mean, down the road, possibly we could continue the road work and connect to River Road at that end.
So it doesn't connect right now?
Yeah, I mean, technically, but it's definitely not passable by any means.
Yeah. And so I guess that's part of, right, this says no building permits shall be issued on a class 6 road.
Correct.
So this is a class 6 road, so technically per this, we would say no.
And that's why
And
there's
that's
the access.
that's why I'm
for the
curious
variance,
of what the road actually looks like, because then it's the access, right, for the paramedics and the fire and all that type of stuff. So if we say yes, but then the road is terrible.
Well, that's if it was updated to a class 5 as a class 6, we don't have to,
Or a
we don't
private
have
road.
those same restrictions, correct?
Or a private road, yeah.
Correct.
So would that be if for some reason we went this, would there be provisions to say, hey, the road has to be
This one.
that one right there? Okay.
That was my next question.
Okay.
I have no trouble meeting the provisions of the variance that we usually grant. If we grant a variance, we'll have four provisions here. As far as, have you seen this?
I have not, no.
You guys know of it, right?
I do not. Is this,
I know we've talked about it, but
Well,
I
look,
haven't.
I don't have a whole lot of copies, I don't think. But,
but this is sort of a customary, when we do X, we tend to put requirements Y on it, is that? Okay,
exactly.
great.
These are, I thought they were formalized. Here you go, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And these go with the variance if it's granted.
Give you a copy?
Go ahead, yeah.
I don't trust my ability to rip on a table edge, so I'll do what I know.
Basically, it's about, you want to sign a waiver, you want to make sure that the road is posted appropriately, and that stuff.
I just want to be clear too, is there's no intent to ever put in like an actual like subdivision
Right.
by any means. I know the acreage is there, but I mean, it would just really ruin
Right.
the whole character.
I think that was just a conversational question, and we're not,
Okay.
That's down the road anyway. I mean, we're not really.
whole different issue if it ever happens.
Yeah, yeah, I just want to be clear, it's not like we're trying to purchase it and put like 5 homes, it's just, ultimately,
Try to stay away from the hypothetical.
yeah, okay.
I want to deal with just the facts, basically.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Any other questions? Guys, you've seen this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No questions?
No questions? Yeah, nothing to add? Okay, you have a seat and we'll go through the motions here
Thank you.
as far as,
And we want to get other testimony?
Exactly.
Great.
are there any approving abutters? Speak to this. Being none, are there any disapproving abutters? Well, okay. Who wants to go first?
So I'm Ray Menard, my wife Susan. We're at 1015 River Road. So we're on the bottom half of Huntington Hill Road, which is probably misnamed. It should be Hunting Hill Creek. It's definitely a concern, and I'm not saying I'm against it, but I think the road needs to be looked at as a whole, right? Because if something happens at the top, gravity brings it all down our way, down to Dan and my house, and I've got a swamp in the backyard now, right, with the drainage on the bottom half there. It is really more of a river than road at the bottom half of that. About the last, I'd say half of it probably is more water than road.
On what side now?
On Huntington Hill.
Okay, all right.
So they're proposing the house or road modifications or whatever at the top of the hill, and I'm not opposed to that at all, but I do have concerns about what happens on that road and the current problem with drainage there.
So to help me understand the concerns, I think you're saying the presence or absence of a house up there doesn't matter to you.
Doesn't matter to me.
You are saying if his driveway and the way he contoured it increased the flow by even a gallon, you've already got a bad situation and it would be
Correct.
worse. Okay.
Correct. And my concern is all around what happens on that road.
Drainage,
Great.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
I think you were the only one on the board when I was
Pardon me?
doing my variance. I think you're the only one on the zoning board
A lot of turnover.
when I was on the variance for
Okay, yeah.
getting my variance for up on the hill. So I'm the last one up on the hill, before you get down to Ilse's. And I'm the gentleman that the road appears to be the road, but it actually goes on my land.
Eldon, for the record, would you state?
Yeah,
your name?
Eldon Towns, Huntington Hill Road.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Sorry. So I brought a map of how the driveway is constructed and how the hill lays out to what's existing, to help you guys understand. And so up here is where Huntington Hill, continues down to Barclough.
Okay,
Huntington Hill continues down to River Road this way.
So the lot that we're talking about is off in that direction?
it's,
It's
yeah,
right
where's the
there.
lot there?
Okay, great, thank you.
So the lot is down the hill, and the amount of road that they're gonna have to upgrade is just my
Wait
property
a
line.
minute, this driveway stuff is irrelevant.
Yep,
Okay, you can confuse me,
Yep.
okay. So,
but it looks like the road when you're up there.
Okay.
The way that it's constructed, the way that it comes down in this 50-foot turnaround, blends in with the old road base, it looks like it. So they're actually gonna have to upgrade an additional from what they're thinking. This lot line's 155 feet long, and then that one's 92, and this is 194.
okay, there you go.
So it's gonna be 440 something feet before they get to their lot of road. They're gonna have to ditch, keep on the road, because once you establish a ditch on a town road, you cannot discharge onto said properties on the
yep.
edge of it. So you're gonna carry that load down to River Road. I was on the phone with the road agent to ask him if he's had already issues at the intersection of Huntington Hill and River Road. And there is current issues there with drainage hitting that culvert where it's, I believe, Dan's driveway?
Yeah.
And theirs, and yours.
Just a few years ago, it was ice a couple inches thick out into the road because of
This
the
year.
water.
Probably
And your
tomorrow.
driveway.
Tomorrow.
of ice.
2 weeks ago,
Tomorrow,
I had
Thursday,
10
it'll
inches
probably
of
be a river.
ice
So-
at the end of the driveway.
Anyway, there's gonna be a lot of created water that's gonna go down that way, and you can't discharge it either way, cause Huntington Hill is in a crotch, and it's on bedrock, so it's fast water. It's slick bedrock, and, part of my variance to getting it was, the board's concern at the time was how much road I was gonna have to upgrade down over that side of the hill.
Yeah.
Because they understood the water issue.
So let me echo back your concerns to make sure I follow. Since it's a Class 6 road, you are expecting, quite reasonably, that we would, if we issued the variance, we would say the applicant must upgrade a certain amount of road. And you're telling us, you might think that's 200, but it's more like 500.
Well, yeah, because my property lines are my property lines.
Great. You're
Yep.
not disagreeing or accusing, just making
Yep.
sure I follow. You're further saying, part of upgrading any road is to put in a drainage ditch along one side, and.
Yes, it's code.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now we're talking 400 feet of effectively new road or upgraded road, 400 feet of ditch, and that ditch.
To get to their lot.
Right. That ditch now gets to your property, and he certainly can't dump that water in your front yard, I get it. So he's gonna have to continue it, and does the existing ditch, does it have the capacity to carry this extra amount of water, is the concern you're raising? And further, even if it gets it right past your yard in the ditch, then it just comes down to the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. So that's the.
So what's gonna happen is it's gonna land in.
My front yard, my lower front yard already stays wet all year long.
So, and here's some more context. My grandfather was road agent in the town and built a lot of roads, and he actually plowed Huntington Hill before it was closed and before Clough became what it is. And they moved Barnard Hill to make River Road where it is now. They closed Huntington Hill because when they put River Road is where it is now, the first spring or the second spring, they lost River Road right there. So,
Okay.
So
that's
what's
why it was closed, and that's why the amount of road I had to upgrade was a sticky point at that meeting. And the way that it was laid and the way that I contoured it, we made sure it did not send water down that way.
So with this road that's here, is that on your property, off your property?
No, that's the road, but what I have marked in green, if you drove up there, you would believe that's the road.
Because it's better maintained than the real road, so we think
Yeah,
you're the road.
it's-
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, because
So
I was
we're
looking
driving right
at that,
here.
so it looked like it like ended in your yard, kind of stuff, so.
Yep.
Okay.
And for my condition of approval for my variance was no further subdivision. So your dreams of subdividing and doing a lot, it's not gonna,
Yeah, that's, like I said,
Yeah.
kinda like a pipe dream.
yeah.
Yeah,
so-
and that's not a concern for now, so.
It's all hypothetical.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's enough.
yep. So that was it. Yep. But there's some context as to
Cool.
what the deal is with Huntington Hill.
And it is bordered on both sides by rock walls.
Yeah, and to gain a ditch line through a walk wall, you would need selectmen permission to put a hole through it.
Right.
And the rock walls usually delineate the property boundaries, so even if you did that, you would then be asking a neighbor to sell you an easement on the inside of his property or something is
Yeah.
the thought, okay?
Yeah. Yep, so
It would take more than a hole.
So,
it's more of a,
right, so here's a question.
Yeah.
Say that it was Bill Gates or, a billionaire, and he said, I want to do it, and here's my plan. I'm going to blast down 10 feet deep, I'm going to put an 18-inch culvert. And, his engineer says, yep, it's going to cost $1 million, but you're never going to see a drop. At that point, your concerns are, you're not upset about the house there. It's, you don't want to see a single drop of water on your land.
you're talking to a guy that lives in the dirt. That won't happen.
Okay?
The water's gonna pool up and it's still gonna go down the hill. You
Okay.
can make that pool as big as you want to catch the water. It's bedrock. It doesn't leach in. It
No,
just fills
I was,
up
I was
and-
trying to suggest leaching in. I was just, it was a made-up engineering hypothetical to get to.
Yeah,
The
but
concern is
there's no-
all, you don't want a single drop of extra water on your land.
Basically what the conversation with the road agent was is if the problem happens, you won't get ahead of it,
Okay,
so.
I understand. No further questions for me.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Any other disapproving of butters? Sir, state your name.
Dan Levy from 1025 River Road. As I already stated, my lawn's already wet all year long. Any more water coming down that hill is just gonna make more detriment to my property. The,
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
and as far as your blasting comment goes, I don't know the legal grounds behind it, but my propane tank's right on my rock wall. And they would have to blast
It was
within
a
60 feet of
hypothetical,
it.
And what I was trying to
Just
get
stating.
to was, the entire issue is not one more gallon of water,
Yeah.
but if somebody could drain it off the other side of the hill, and it hadn't been up there, that's, okay.
And you got people's wells right there too. But all the blasting would affect all that too.
Yep.
So, I don't even think that would be possible. Money's not an option.
Any other questions?
I'm not in a butter. I'm close, but not quite. Would I wait to talk? Or should I?
Public at large.
Yeah, public at large, I think, would be the next one,
Technically,
so.
you don't have any standing, but public at large is a pretty broad thing. And in this case, I'm okay with that. If you, and it looks like we're done with the disapproving of butters. You want to step up and state your name?
So now we'll call for the public at large.
Public at large.
Can I- hi.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more. One more.
No, just, I have the same water concerns at Even Oaks, 1031 River Road. So I'm on the other side of the proposed road from Dan.
And now, are you on the butters list?
Yes.
What's your
Okay.
name?
Which one?
Eva Noakes.
State your name right to the microphone. there. Step right
Eva
up.
Noakes.
Okay. Okay.
And I just had a question of where the house would be, because we didn't see any map of where that actual house would be,
Yep.
for the comment about the property values and things.
It's,
The map that we have does not have exact setbacks, but it shows it, you know, 1/5 of the way in or 1/6 of the way in close to the road, and,
Okay, so this is my property.
okay.
all right,
And
okay.
then, and to the hardship of they can't sell the land, we did offer to buy this piece here, and we're told it couldn't be parceled out. Just as a side note.
So,
So what
was there a
your-
statement of disapproval, or,
Yeah, well, if it's about any more water, there's already way too much water.
okay?
Okay.
Yeah, we had, 2 weeks ago, the ice was 10 inches thick at the bottom of my driveway.
All right.
I put 600 pounds of ice melt down, it barely did it,
So the road as is already a problem.
so.
You, sir, have anything to add other than what we've already kind of discussed?
Well, my name's
Go ahead. Yeah.
Stephen Cushman, 52 North Huntington Hill Road.
Okay.
So I'm at where all the water goes.
Yeah.
Is their front yards and my driveway. So I'm on a class 6 at the end. All the water that road, Huntington Hill, turns into an actual waterfall. Like, it's bedrock. It's just rock. I've driven up it in my Jeep. That's the only thing that's going to make it up there. And all the water comes right down into my driveway across the street. And
You're downstream.
yep, so I am the last receiver of all the water. And drainage is definitely an issue on the road. And I don't know if I have any say because I'm not in a butter, but I'm further down the river. You know?
Downstream, I would call you.
Yeah, downstream. I'm the guy at the end.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can see the washouts in the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other disapproving of butters?
Public at large, yep.
Yeah, public at large. Okay, I don't want to get too
Same-
carried away
same-
with this
Same
now.
lot.
Leah Cushman, his wife, same,
Oh, okay,
same
okay,
house.
yeah,
Just wanted to add, like, he works very hard to maintain our Class 6 road there. That's like it's literally like, goes directly into it, so all the water goes over River Road and then into our road, and it washes it out
Okay.
all the time. And, it's just like, it's financial, it's time, so it's a lot. Just wanted to add that.
Great, thank you. So basically, we've got, across the board here, it's about drainage, it's about water. Okay. You need to rebut that? You have anything to say to that? I'm sorry, wait a minute. That was public at large. Boards and other committees and all that. Okay, we're good. Now we're going full circle. Nothing else to add by anybody else. What do you have to say?
So, we've definitely walked it the past couple of months, and obviously there's a fair amount of water that sheds off. My only, I guess, just concern would be is where we're intending to continue the road and cut in through for our driveway is where the Huntington Hill portion actually levels off and for a section, maybe like 100 feet, and then it actually starts another steep incline, and we've walked it, and
Yeah.
like they're saying, that ice is completely, like, definitely 10 inches to a foot thick at that point, but it's actually lower than where we would continue the road, so I really don't believe us continuing the road to where we're cutting through for our driveway would really affect and change the amount of water that's actually currently going down there at this moment in time anyway.
Talk with the road agent with all this, people we've gone through with.
We haven't yet. I mean, this is all preliminary stuff. Obviously, they're not gonna purchase the land if this doesn't get approved, so we're trying not to put too much time and effort in this
Right.
I would
until
say
we
if there
know
was a
what.
study to say, hey, if we put this road in, this is where the water would go, blah, 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 right? All that stuff, and that it wouldn't affect all these other people more, that would be helpful, I would think, if that could be done. Some engineering
I've got a
study.
similar take, which is, I've heard a lot of concerns, and on the one hand, and please don't get upset until I get to the end of the paragraph, on the one hand, these are layman concerns, so they could, you know, if we had a study saying, hey, I'm a technical soils engineer, et cetera, this is gonna be okay, that would rebut it. But in the absence of that, 6 out of 6 laymen all saying, I really think X, right now, for me at least, that's gonna win the argument. And I cannot imagine personally voting in favor of this without sort of scientific or engineering evidence on the other side.
Okay.
But
Let me
I'm only
ask
one
you
voice out of 5.
A question. To be honest, I was a little bit taken with the application as far as the lot map and the details. And now we're into a situation where there are a lot more details we're discussing, and I don't have a map with a stamp on it. So I'm wondering what you want to do about that.
Well, I think to his point, though, is that they haven't even purchased this property. They're trying to find out whether or not it's even feasible to do
Right.
that. So to have that expense of putting a stamp on it it's kind of moot until they know whether or not they can do anything.
I think there's a catch-22. That makes perfect sense. I
Yes.
wouldn't want to shell out 4K or whatever. But then on the other hand, I think that, I might not be the only one on the board who is saying, hey, without at least a topological map, without at least a single one-page letter from a soils engineer, this doesn't seem like a great thing that, we'd be comfortable with. Again, speaking for
Yeah.
one.
No, we completely understand too, but it's like, how much time and money are you gonna put into
Yeah.
it prior to even knowing? I
Yep.
mean, obviously, you guys are well aware of the costs of new construction at the time being. I mean, we're not looking to, displace water placement or anything to affect anybody else, and we're more than willing to do extra excavation, what we can to divert water into certain areas. The road is obviously an issue, but I personally believe it's lower than where we'd be cutting the proposed driveway further in.
So,
But I mean, at this point, the piece of property is contingent upon sale on this approval right now, so I mean,
I'm not going to
It's like a
give
time-
advice to anyone,
timeline,
but I will say that there are free GIS software. GraniteState.edu has one that gives topological maps with 2-foot contour lines.
Yeah.
If someone walked in here with a topological map with 2-foot contour lines showing how it would drain in the other direction, that would be quite interesting to me. Without even that, I don't see myself voting in favor of this.
I mean, I guess another option is, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because I think you had something, you would cover what I was gonna say, basically.
So my only thought process is I completely agree with you. So maybe an approval with a contingent on a topological, certified plan, stamped plan.
Okay, let me interject a question.
Yeah.
Because it seems as there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done.
Correct.
We get into situations sometimes where we're asked for a variance and it turns into a cart before the horse kind of situation. Have you considered, or have your people considered about doing a little bit more homework before you apply for the variance? In other words, you have one choice is to withdraw. Because,
And that would be without prejudice. You could bring it
Without
back
prejudice.
in, 4 weeks.
if you were to ask to withdraw the application so that you could do a little bit more work, to supply us with more information, because it seems to me that we're lacking some information and we're not comfortable with the decisions that we might have to make. So that's sort of my question on the table for you.
But couldn't you also do a continuance for this with the,
Yes.
to bring in the added versus a withdrawal?
The problem with
Withdrawal
that
seems-
is that's a lot of contingents. I see quite a big list.
Continuance,
Pardon?
continuance.
I think it was a continuance with a lot of contingencies is maybe,
Well, no, it would be a continuance to allow them to
Yeah.
provide more information, not only to us, but also to the disapproving abutters that are here, versus a withdrawal.
yep.
And then at that point, if they're withdrawing from this, then they're gonna have to reapply.
Right, which adds 2 months, I guess.
Am I,
Yeah.
am I wrong on that?
No, I
No,
follow you.
You're
Right.
right, you're right. And basically, that cat is out of the bag, so to speak. And now it's your decision.
So basically, your choice, you've got 3 things. You could say, no, we're all here, let's push forward, I want to see how you guys vote. You can do that. You can also say, I would like to withdraw this, and I might reapply in 3 or 4 weeks. You can do that. Or the third option is you could say, I'd like to push this off until the next meeting in about 4 or 5 weeks, and at that point I will come back with perhaps a $12,000 engineering study, or perhaps 2 pages of printout that I got for free off of the web. So those are your choices, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like, time is of the essence. I mean, if we're back in 2 months, they're gonna probably scrap the deal. So I'd probably like to move forward. I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody had an issue with the dwelling, like the proposed dwelling going in. It's obviously a soil issue, right? And road issue. So, I mean, if we did get the approval, by all means, you know, we would be willing to put more money and time into this to possibly go forward. But unfortunately, you know, we don't really have the time to wait, and obviously the spring market's gonna hit, so we're trying to beat that to purchase.
So, I'm not experienced with this particular type of situation. I would entertain a motion to continue.
And this is from the board, so we've heard that you're not asking for that. but-
Yes.
So before we do that, are we
Before
done
we do
with?
that, part of the, I'm just throwing on the table for the board to consider. We need a road plan. That's a big part of what's missing. And I'm not sure what else is missing.
So the applicant has said that he is not either asking for a continuance or a withdrawal. So I think that first we might want to close the public discussion part of the meeting. Is that reasonable?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, we still want to discuss, but there's still more to be had.
If you do that, you can't ask him any further
Okay.
questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
We're at a situation where we're really lacking. And I'm not familiar with the procedure, to be honest, as far as continuing. But that's where I would want to lean. We
Yeah.
just can't, I don't think it would be fair to you.
Now, are you
for us
guys,
to make a decision tonight.
okay. I forget, do you guys meet twice a month or once?
No, just once a month.
Once a month, so it'd be another, at least 30 days then, yeah.
Correct.
The point is, my point is, we need to come up with a certain list for you to work with.
Okay.
You know, what it was, we've loosely talked about
Yeah.
a road plan, driveway plan.
Let me interject one
any-
thing. Reading the tea leaves, I don't think that you are likely to get the variance tonight. I think that we're kind of leaning towards discussing, we might choose to do a continuance and say, we'd love to see you again in 4 weeks when you bring A and B, or
Exactly.
A or C, or, so we're now starting to have that conversation.
Exactly.
So if we were to vote for a continuance, what I've heard from Luke is that he's not looking for a continuance. He's looking for a vote as to whether or not we will grant a variance for this property.
Yep.
So us voting for continuance
Is not what he wants.
Is not what he wants.
I'm happy to go and have that vote now.
So it's, I don't think there's even a reason to have that vote. I think we're looking to go through the prongs
Great.
and decide on the merits of those prongs whether or not we're going to grant the variance.
Sounds good.
Is that,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you basically, you're all set.
yeah, oh, go sit down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at that point, I guess I will
Before you
close.
Hold on before you close. Luke, I don't wanna put words into your mouth, so please, if I'm misstating what you're thinking, by all means, correct me, because you have the voice.
Yes.
You have the ability to say, I'm wrong, and that's fine. So please, say
No,
whatever's on your mind.
so I guess I'm agreeing with what you're saying. As far as, because like we're looking at it as an aspect, like, is this even buildable, right? So we don't want to put all this time and money and it not even be possible, and obviously we don't want to purchase without doing so. Like what I've heard here tonight is a soil and road issue, right? And we obviously know we have to do upgrades to the road. It's just the extent of it. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna put $250,000 into this road. It just isn't feasible to build at that point. We do know we're going to have to do upgrades, it's just the extent of it. So I kinda agree with you, there's lack of information, but we're here today to see if it's buildable. There's nobody saying they don't, I mean, I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nobody saying they don't really want the dwelling going in. They just wanna make sure their properties aren't gonna get affected, and we don't want that either, obviously. So that's why I don't know the protocol for this, but it's, if we were to know today if it's buildable and maybe in 30 days provide adequate information to go further with the road and soil, I don't know if that's
So
possible.
I think buildable, really, it all comes down to the road.
It's never easy, right?
So, yeah, there's no other questions. We're gonna have to close this and move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't think we have enough information, but,
Well, to it, it's a class 6 road, and it says no building permits on a class 6 road. And it sounds like it's not really a road, it's a creek. So that would lie, right? So until the road was upgraded to a private road or a class 5 road, and all that done, then I don't think we could do the variance
I
for
agree.
what we have.
And let me further say that on all of the prongs, the framing is that the applicant bears the burden of persuasion. So that means, you know, it's not strictly a voting thing, it's not 51%, but I think that, yeah, so I'm just gonna say, bear that in mind, that we need to be actively persuaded, not, I see both sides.
So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to accept prong one.
I so motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve prong one, excuse me. Those in favor? No, discussion, sorry. I'm not really in a hurry.
I mean, because again, like we've said, it's the house, I don't think is the issue.
Yeah.
It's the road.
Yep.
And it's it's the surrounding, I guess, road affecting others. So for the first one at least, I don't see an issue with building the house.
But I would say the specific clause of the zoning code that they were asking a variance from, is to be allowed to build on a class 6 road.
Which is not allowed.
Right, and so they could persuade us with, here's an engineering diagram, here's this, here's that.
But there was none of that.
But there isn't, and there's a lot of members of the public sort of saying the reverse. So,
I agree with
I would say that right now, I would guess that it is contrary to the public interest.
Anything else? I tend to agree with you. All those in favor?
No.
No?
No. No.
And a no from me. Prong one does not carry, 0-5. Motion on prong two,
I so motion?
Second.
similar discussion from me on that.
No discussion?
Any more discussion, questions? All those in favor?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, that's 5 no's. Nobody's in favor. Motion on prong three.
So moved.
So moved.
Right, sorry, sleeping. Seconded.
Seconded, moved and seconded, any discussion? Okay. Any no discussion? Those in favor?
No.
No?
Those opposed? 05. Prong 3 does not pass 05.
I move we
Prong
accept
4.
prong 4.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
So in this case, I mean, it's a moot point, but, I mean, it wouldn't, obviously would not affect the, or would not diminish the surrounding properties.
I would argue that it might. I mean, we might have some people
For
who
the
have...
home itself, it would not.
The home.
No.
Now, that's, yeah.
The home would not.
In the discussion portion, I think the existence of the home would not, but granting a variance that allowed a driveway to be built that would plausibly shed water would. So as a whole package, I would say that it would impinge on the values of abutting properties.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Yes.
That's excuse me, those opposed?
No.
No?
No.
No and a no. Prong 4 does not pass 1-4. Prong 5 in its entirety? Anybody?
I so motion.
So moved?
Second.
Seconded?
As far as discussion, always with prong 5, we have to discuss the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area. And the only, and I didn't hear that. We have had some of these before in the past where I want to build on a class 5 or class 6 road, and the special restriction is this lot is on a class 6 road. And I would argue that, you know, it's not relevant for today, but in the general case, you know, that is not a valid argument, but here I didn't even hear that.
Well, the special exception in this case is that there is no other access to this property from any other road because it would be landlocked by all other properties. So that would be a special exception in that case.
Not really a hardship. It's not.
But is it a hardship because they don't even own the land yet? They're just trying to see, so it's not really their hardship yet.
Typically, we would grant a variance on a class 6 road as long as there's a waiver signed and all the checklist is taken care of. But there's more to it here than we found out tonight. So the hardship is a tough one to call, really. It's almost not relevant.
No, the hardship would actually be to the current landowner, not to the
Hardship would be
applicant.
access.
Yep.
Yeah. Those approving or
Just vote.
No.
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 5? Motion fails 05.
And so the rules are that you have to get at least a slim majority in all 5 of the prongs. So obviously getting,
I don't want to talk anymore about it.
oh,
Thanks for showing up and
you
yeah,
hadn't
good luck.
proceeded into the, that's it. So I was trying to gently.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, we have a set of minutes here to look at.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
I do have a few changes and one question.
Pardon me?
I do have a few changes and one question.
Okay. Where is
Whenever
it?
you're ready. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
question is on line 106. It says approving a butters none, but in this case, there was a letter that was written
Wait,
and read.
106.
Top of page 3.
Page 3?
Yep, that was me. Line
Yep,
106.
106. It says approving of butters none. None did speak, but there was a letter that was read. I didn't know if this should reflect that or not.
Okay,
So it was a question. It was a letter. They weren't here present.
that's a good question. I don't know how, the question, the letter was read, right?
Yeah, and it does reflect
it
it
was
in the
read.
minutes that it was read.
So we would want to maybe put, wait, this is approving of butters?
Approving the butter, yeah.
So just change it from none to
Just say,
non-present.
say letter. Strike out none and say, letter presented.
Okay.
Okay. Is that you?
Letter on record.
Amazon.
I wish.
Okay, good catch. Anything else?
Line 91, built toward the end of that line, should be B-U-I-L-T. It says B-U-L-T currently.
Built?
Yeah.
Did you get that, Naomi?
Line 131, my last name is with an S.
Yeah.
195, I think there should be an end quote after yes. Ms. Peters replied yes. And that's it.
I had just one, line 57, says the home had been built 10 foot to 10 foot closer. And should that be 10 to 20 feet closer? Because we say it later on line 76, 10 to 20 feet closer. So I don't know if that one was supposed to be 10 to 20 or,
I recall that being the conversation, 10 to
Yes.
20.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I found.
Okay.
I had one on 154. If the board looks at the written application, which is please describe. I wasn't sure exactly what was trying to be said there. Should it be which? Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's accurate the way it's written. If you look at the written
Which
application.
is, yes, it's,
Which says, please describe the special conditions that distinguish it from the other properties.
please describe the
Which
special
says?
conditions.
Well, that's, yeah, which, what,
Could be the quotations.
I'm not sure he said which says, but,
Okay.
Right.
you know, that's what the application reads. Please describe.
All right. That everything? Motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the minutes for January 7th, 2025 as amended. Those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
5-0, accepted. The minutes are done there. Is there anything, any other business to? No more business.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes.